Romanian television says Ceausescu and his wife have been executed. But some Ceausescu followers continue to resist. In Panama, U.S. troops encircle Noriega but can't touch him as the Vatican embassy provides safe haven. And the Secretary of Defense pays a Christmas visit to the GIs.
Well, I'm delighted that General Noriega has finally been run to ground.
NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw.
Good evening and Merry Christmas. Tom is off tonight. I'm John Cochran. The new rulers of Romania said tonight that the deposed despot Nicolae Ceausescu and his wife were executed after a military court found them guilty of genocide, stealing state funds, and trying to escape prosecution. There has been no independent confirmation. NBC's Arthur Kent is in Bucharest tonight.
Nicolae Ceausescu și Elena Ceausescu au fost...
The announcement on Romanian television was brief.
Sentința a rămas definitivă și a fost executată.
Both Ceausescu and his wife were condemned to death. The execution, the announcers said, has been carried out. Many Romanians find it hard to believe the man who ruled them with a ruthlessness verging on fanaticism is finally gone.
I'm truly happy and I'm emotional that I know that it will be true. Okay. It will be okay.
Tonight, a member of the National Salvation Council sang a Christmas carol on Romanian television, a carol banned in this country for 40 years because of its celebration of the birth of Christ. The Romanian army's big guns, guns that have roared through the weekend, were silent in Bucharest, the capital, this Christmas Day. But in the narrow streets of the city center, soldiers and civilians watched for snipers, the die-hard Securitate troops still loyal to Nicolae Ceausescu. Yesterday's heavy fighting has kept the army and the people on edge. One hotspot, Romanian television. Army units returned sniper fire from the courtyard, protecting studios that have become the Provisional Reform Government's virtual seat of power. In the most recent battle here, Securitate gunmen closed in on the studio building. The army fought back. NBC cameraman Max Mattioli and soundman Stefano Generali were caught in the crossfire, but emerged unharmed. Later, reinforcements arrived, one of the citizen volunteer units that have taken up arms in the past 2 days to defend the new government and help defeat the old regime. They lack experience. Have you been trained in the use of that rifle?
No.
This electrician last week went to the barricades barehanded.
Without gun. Now I have a gun.
The growing defense force today helped bring calm to the streets, relief for civilians weary of the sounds of battle. If the fighting has eased, the paranoia in Bucharest has not. At barricades like this one, citizens' committees check the papers of every passing motorist and most pedestrians, still on the lookout for Ceausescu's men. It's a menacing atmosphere broken only by the faintest traces of Christmas cheer. Except, perhaps, in the churches of Bucharest. Here, the celebration of Christmas Mass has risen above the turmoil in the streets. Tonight, Romania's faithful mark not only the birth of Christ, they pray for the rebirth of a nation, their Romania. Arthur Kent, NBC News, Bucharest.
The Bush administration expressed regret that the trial of Ceausescu did not take place in an open and public fashion. But almost immediately after word of his death, the United States established diplomatic relations with Romania's new government. Recognition came as well today from the Soviet Union. And beyond the politics and violence of Romania, there was much giving on this Christmas Day. NBC's George Lewis on help for Romania's victims.
These Romanians had not counted on having to do this on Christmas Day, bury one of the victims of the violence here. The priest would rather have been celebrating a holiday mass, and the heavy equipment operator who was digging scores of holes for more graves would rather have been at home with his family. There will be many more burials like this one.
There are thousands, and they are our heroes.
There are also living heroes here on this Christmas. The medical teams who have been working around the clock to tend the wounded. This hospital has treated more than 600 casualties. 90 have died so far. It's a depressing way for these people to practice their profession. The doctor in the yellow surgical cap is part of a team of French physicians who gave up their holidays to come here and help out. Others came from afar bearing gifts. The Germans were here with a plane load of medical supplies as their contribution. The holiday did not ease the tension in the streets. Military checkpoints are everywhere, troops searching for the remnants of the Ceausescu secret police. Anyone suspected of being a collaborator is detained. Goodwill toward men is not always in evidence here. But in spite of all the problems and the suffering, there is a spirit of triumph. These people feel they have won for themselves the best Christmas present of all. Liberty.
It is doubtlessly a good Christmas present, but it would have been better if everything would have been quiet right now, so we could have a real Christmas celebration.
This Christmas, people can speak freely against communism. They can put up Christmas decorations in public places. Two things unheard of in 40 years. But they must also take time to mourn the dead and remember the terrible price Romania is paying for freedom. George Lewis, NBC News, Bucharest.
A report from Hungary said Iranians and Libyans were fighting in Romania. Iran denied it. Romanian television reported that Syrians and Palestinians were fighting on the side of Ceausescu forces. And the Romanian Revolution was a centerpiece of today's Christmas message at the Vatican. In St. Peter's Square, Pope John Paul asked for a special blessing for Romanians. He said they are celebrating Christmas in fear and trembling, but also in joy of having taken the path of freedom. And Christmas services became celebrations of freedom across Eastern Europe. The Christmas speech in Sofia by the head of Bulgaria's Orthodox Church was broadcast there for the first time in 4 decades. And in Hungary's capital, Budapest, a huge candlelight service dedicated to the people of Romania as they press on with their struggle toward freedom. Also coming up here on NBC Nightly News, Panama's Noriega spends Christmas at the Vatican Embassy. How long will the sanctuary last? And in this country, a Christmas tragedy. Kinley Jones reports on the fire that killed 16 people and injured dozens at a Tennessee retirement home.
Now, for a limited time, get a guaranteed rebate at your Jeep and Eagle dealer. If the rebate increases on your eligible vehicle after January 31st, you'll get a check for the difference. No other car company has ever done that. The guaranteed rebate from the Chrysler Corporation. See your Jeep and Eagle dealer now. Offer ends soon.
There are very few guarantees in medicine. But if you have arthritis pain like I do, you should know about Mediprin and the Mediprin guarantee. If 2 Mediprin don't relieve minor arthritis pain better than 2 regular aspirin, you get your money back. Strong promise, strong medicine. The medicine that concentrates the power of ibuprofen into these potent little caplets. The medicine that guarantees better relief than regular aspirin. Better arthritis pain relief. That's the Mediprin guarantee.
On this Christmas night, Manuel Noriega has taken a great interest in the religious and legal ethics of the Catholic Church. Vatican officials will not force him to leave their embassy in Panama City, where he sought asylum yesterday. Tonight, a State Department official said the Bush administration is demanding in tough language that the Vatican turn him over to U.S. authorities. But, for the moment at least, Noriega is safe from drug trafficking prosecution by U.S. officials. And U.S. troops are protecting Noriega from his own people, as well as ensuring he doesn't escape. Fred Francis is pool correspondent for American Broadcasters.
Panamanians cheering news that Noriega is no longer at large. Cheering U.S. troops as well. The new Panamanian Vice President, Ricardo Arias Calderon.
He's running for his life, and he has had to ask other people's protection. He's finished.
The Vatican's diplomatic mission here, surrounded by American military. But the guns are pointed away from the mission. A diplomatic nicety and a warning against attacks by any anti-Noriega crowds. Archbishop Marco McGrath. He was asked what it's like for Noriega inside.
Well, it's not a luxury hotel. He will have a small room and be able to meet with the nuncio. It's cramped quarters.
Diplomatic sources here say talks were intense today. There were several countries involved and the U.S. military command. Spain was talked about for sanctuary, but the Spanish foreign minister said today his country would turn Noriega over to the United States. It's possible this could remain unresolved for quite some time. For U.S. troops, it was the first Christmas Day spent in a combat zone since the Vietnam War.
And lo, the star which they saw in the east went before them until it came and stood over where the young child was.
But at the camp for those whose homes were destroyed in the fighting, 12,000 refugees spent a meager Christmas Day. A tiny tree decorated, a small boy and his Christmas gift, toy soldiers, a young girl and her new doll. At midday, Panama's president, Indara, joined others at the camp for Christmas services. It will take a lot of time and a lot of financial help for Panama to recover. But most important may be a plan for withdrawing U.S. troops before their welcome runs thin. Fred Francis, NBC News, Panama.
Late today, U.S. officials reported that a Panamanian indicted with Noriega on drug trafficking charges was arrested in Panama and flown to Miami to stand trial. The Justice Department says Luis Del Cid believed a key link between Noriega and the drug cartel surrendered to U.S. forces in Panama. And U.S. forces in Panama arrested 3 other Noriega officials, including Mario Ragnoni, a top advisor and spokesman. But the problem remains. What can be done about Noriega? That has now become a problem of diplomacy for the Bush administration. And our chief diplomatic correspondent, John Dancy, is at the State Department. John, we know that the president's national security advisor, Brent Scowcroft, talked to the president at Camp David today about his options. Since storming the Vatican embassy is not an acceptable option, what's left?
Well, John, the options are few, and none of them are very good. The United States has demanded, as you said, in the strongest possible terms, that the Vatican turn over Noriega, but so far the Vatican has refused to do that. In fact, the Vatican is looking for some third country that might be willing to take Noriega. So far, it has found none. One problem if the Vatican tries to turn Noriega over to the new Indara government in Panama is that Indara and the Panamanians have no extradition treaty with the United States. Now, the United States has gone to great lengths in the past few days to try to show that Indara is not a puppet of the United States, so they could hardly go and demand that he simply turn him over to the United States. So, again, the options are few and not very good.
John, some U.S. officials have admitted they may not have an airtight drug case against Noriega. Now, if that's true, do you think some of Bush's aides hope he stays on diplomatic turf where he can't be arrested?
Well, certainly officially the United States wants Noriega brought back to the United States for trial, and that is part of the reason for all of the diplomatic activity with the Vatican going on. But in fact, if it is not an airtight case, it could drag on for years, and there might be some embarrassing revelations as Noriega's defense asks for documents from the CIA from the time when Noriega was a CIA informant and his boss was one George Bush.
Thank you, John. John Dancy at the State Department. The Pentagon today released new casualty figures from Panama. It said 23 American servicemen have been killed since fighting began there last Wednesday. 303 have been wounded. For the 8 American hostages in Lebanon, this was one more Christmas in captivity. Newspapers, television, and radio there carried messages to the Americans from their families. The sister of Terry Anderson, Peggy Say, wrote that she was praying very hard for a Christmas miracle. But from the hostages and their captors, nothing.
Having the flu is a nightmare. Your throat's so sore. You're congested. You cough. Body aches all over. But now there's Theraflu, the first and only hot medicine made just for flu symptoms. Theraflu, with a hot liquid like doctors recommend. Strong therapy for fever and cough. Strong therapy for aches and pains. Next time the flu strikes you, strike back with Theraflu.
I knew it was for real, but I never thought I was going to win.
If you never thought you could win the Publishers Clearinghouse Sweepstakes, think again, because your chances to win millions are on the way. You could win $10 million. Watch your mail for this house and enter the Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes right away. On January 26th, you could be our next millionaire.
Real people win. I'm one of them.
Recognize that skyline? There's only one place in the world looks like that. Manhattan. Where the air's clean, the living's easy, and the food's great. Every time I'm in Manhattan, I order my personal favorite, the New York Strip. Delicious. Manhattan's known for its famous restaurants, so be sure to try all three. Beef, real food, Manhattan, Montana.
Tragedy on this Christmas Day. In Johnson City, Tennessee, firefighters found another body in a retirement home that caught fire last night, bringing the death toll to 16. At least 50 more people were injured. NBC's Kenley Jones is there.
The former 10-story hotel had been converted into a retirement home for the elderly. The death toll might have been higher, except some of the residents had left the building to visit relatives on Christmas Eve.
We do know there were deaths on the 5th floor, 6th floor, 8th floor, 10th floor. The upper floor of the structure.
Were they trapped up there, and what did they do?
Yeah, they were trapped. That's correct.
Almost all of the victims died of smoke inhalation. Investigators say the fire may have been started by someone smoking on a couch on the 1st floor. Working in bitterly cold weather, the temperature was 11 degrees. Firemen rescued some from the upper floors, but not all. Sam Williams watched one of his friends die.
He was waving out the window saying, "Help me," and it tore me up inside because we couldn't help him.
77-year-old Ardenia Lewis lost everything.
Everything I owned is gone. That's all I can say.
At least you're alive, some aren't.
At least I'm alive for whatever else happened.
When the building was converted into a retirement home in 1977, the fire code did not require that it have sprinklers. The owner said today they had planned to install them next spring. The fire marshal said sprinklers would have saved lives.
My personal belief, yes. I don't know of anyone that died in a sprinkled building that was working properly.
Fire officials say while the building is heavily damaged inside, the outside remains structurally sound. It could be renovated. If so, it will come under the current fire code, which requires sprinklers. But that would be too late for those who died inside this Christmas Eve. Kenley Jones, NBC News, Johnson City, Tennessee.
A rebate is a rebate is a rebate, right? Wrong. Now, for the first time, Chrysler, Plymouth, Dodge, Jeep, and Eagle offer the guaranteed rebate on the world's best-selling 1990 minivans, convertibles, and Jeep Cherokees. If the rebate goes up this model year, we'll pay you the difference. No other car company has ever done that. The guaranteed rebate from Chrysler. Offer ends soon.
Even the worst arthritis sufferers don't have to wake up stiff and sore, because your doctor can help you find relief from the morning pain and stiffness that are often early signs of arthritis. Go off to see your doctor today and get a kick out of getting up in the morning. Pfizer, wake up to good mornings.
This is big. For the first time in my life, I understand what nutrition is. And I know where to start. The Surgeon General of the United States recommends 7 guidelines for nutritious eating. Then you do a little homework and you find one leading cereal meets all 7. Total. That's right. This one. Whole wheat Total. So now you understand. What the Surgeon General recommends, Total delivers.
You can search gourmet coffee shops from New Orleans to New York to San Francisco, and still you won't find a gourmet coffee like Gourmet Supreme, a new Folgers right in your market. It's mountain-grown Colombian, blended with select gourmet beans for an enticing aroma and gourmet taste.
You really brighten your day when you started out gourmet. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
New Folgers Gourmet Supreme in the black can.
Snow and bitter cold put a chill into this holiday for a lot of Americans, especially in the Deep South. In some places, this was the first white Christmas in more than a century. For many people, it was the stuff of dreams. For others, a nightmare. Here's NBC's Fred Briggs.
It was actually colder today in the southeastern United States than in the northern Great Plains. The worst snow, more than 13 inches of it, struck Cape Hatteras on the Outer Banks of North Carolina, all the way down to Wilmington near the South Carolina border. Wilmington set an all-time record low of 0 this morning. Florida's crops took a beating. Governor Bob Martinez declared a state of emergency in the northern part of the state, where orange groves suffered heavy damage. Growers of strawberries took the rather unusual step of spraying their crops with water, which provides them with a coating of ice that protects them from frost.
We still have a fair year. We're not wiped out. And in '83, we were completely wiped out.
Florida beaches weren't doing very well either, but Christmas isn't usually a big day there. In the Houston area, pipes and water mains were frozen. Fire trucks had to be used to keep water flowing to hospitals. West of the Rockies, the only problem was dense fog. Near San Francisco, 5 people were injured this morning in a 14-car pileup that closed 3 westbound lanes of a major highway. In the northeastern part of the nation, which has spent almost a week in single-digit temperatures, the annual commemoration of Washington's crossing of the Delaware was canceled because the Delaware was frozen, so they had to make do with the parade. Still, the region enjoyed a white Christmas, and temperatures are supposed to rise. Not much, but they've been down so long, they'll look like up for many. Fred Briggs, NBC News.
For the past 3 years, the organizers of the post-Christmas Winterfest in Buffalo, New York, have had to struggle with weather that was unseasonably warm. This year, they gave up and canceled the festival. That, of course, is when the snow began.
Of all the Subarus registered since 1979, 93% are still on the road, which could mean the new Subaru Royale will still be good on a hill when other cars are over it.
Your time for glory, to be the best you can be. You feel the power, now let the world see.
Now you can help Procter & Gamble celebrate 10 years of support for Special Olympics and save over $10 when you redeem these coupons in your Publishers Clearinghouse mailing.
You are a hero.
The American Family Sweepstakes is bigger than ever, more million-dollar prizes than ever, and the biggest grand prize ever, $20 million. It's like entering dozens of sweepstakes with a single entry. You get more chances than ever to get really rich, even super rich, $20 million rich at American Family. The one and only sweepstakes with my picture. You may be our biggest winner of all time next month. Don't miss out. Hurry.
If you took Alka-Seltzer Plus for your sneezing and congestion, there's something you should know. Contact maximum strength caplets work twice as long.
Gesundheit.
Until there's a cure, there's Contact.
On this Christmas night, we'd like to show you the names of all the people who work around the world and sometimes around the clock for NBC Nightly News. It has been a remarkable year, and we think our folks are pretty remarkable too. So as we wish you happy and safe holidays, please take a look and enjoy the chorus, first of the Glide Memorial Church in San Francisco, and then of the Plymouth Congregational Church in Miami. And Merry Christmas.
Tell it on the mountain, over the hill, and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hill. To let my people go. We'll sing about the freedom which all people must pursue. Get ourselves together and make this whole world. Let my people go.
Brokaw. Jane Pauley, Flashback to the 80s, Wednesday on NBC.
I'm Brian.